Things are changing around the NFL, and we're going to go through our mock this week in the top 10. A lot of New York flavor here coming for you. Welcome to Locked On NFL Draft.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the games start. And as always, I am your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, and I'm always joined by my guy, Ryan Tracy. And you already know what this is, man. It's the Locked On NFL Draft show. Today, we're getting into some more mock draft. We're doing the top 10. So, yeah, you got the Jaguars, Lions, Texans, Jets, Giants, Panthers, all these New York teams, Broncos. We're getting into it, Falcons, all that good stuff. And we're going to start at the top. You know, last time what we did was we kind of sped through. The week before that, we picked guys together. This time, I'm going to do the odd. We'll have Ryan do the even, and we'll start with the Jaguars on the clock. I wish we could do trades because I think this would be a great time to make a trade and trade out of this spot for a team that might want Aiden Hutchinson or a team that might want Kayvon Thibodeau. But what we're going to do here, man, we're going to go with Evan Neal. All right, Evan Neal out of Alabama, the big tackle. He's going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, I think it should be really the main focal point of this offense to protect Trevor Lawrence the best way you can. When I was getting ready to talk about Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars against the 49ers, I went to the film, and it was so hard to really kind of pinpoint what he is and what he, can he process and all these things, because most of the time he was running for his life. All right. On top of that, obviously, and there's a scenario where you can give him some weapons early in the draft, but here they got to protect the young stud. Now, Evan Neal, he's a massive, massive tackle. He's massive. I think there are some things that he needs to clean up. But one thing that's really good, he reminds me a lot of Trent Brown. Trent Brown was like this big wall, right? You know, he could have a little trouble at times with moving around to get blocks, but one thing he didn't struggle with, and that's pass protection. I think that's a big strength in Evan Neal, and I think that's definitely something that Trevor Lawrence is going to need if he's going to succeed in this NFL, because right now they're setting him up for failure there.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, you got to do what you can do to give him a chance. At the end of the day, there are organizations all over the league that's their focus year in, year out, is supporting that quarterback, whether he's an aged veteran or a rookie. I think that certainly plays in. They're going to have to do that. If it wasn't him, I think it would have been one of the other, top tackles. We'll have that debate coming up here in a couple of weeks. But for the Detroit Lions, who are on the clock now, similar situation. They need to support that team. It's just not the quarterback. I think this is way too early for this quarterback class. This is another team that could significantly look to trade out. I don't know how much there's going to be in momentum coming up to take number 2. So I'm guessing they end up standing pat and taking this selection. And in order to support Goff, that you've put some capital into and you've tried to bring that offense along, what's the biggest impact that you can make outside of that position? It's probably on the edge. You're deficient in that spot as it is. And it comes down to the top 2 prospects, right? One that's a little bit lighter, a little bit more explosive in Kayvon Thibodeau. And then the guy that I think is both powerful and slippery, has everything put together for what they need in an all-around power edge in Aiden Hutchinson, plays in the state. They've seen him quite a bit. I don't think that plays into the decision-making myself. But at the end of the day, and after doing a couple more games on each of them here in the last week or two, I do have Hutchinson firmly at number 1 at my board. So I'm going to go with that and give Aiden Hutchinson from the Michigan Wolverines edge to the Detroit Lions, not Pistons. I almost said that.
Yeah. And I like it. And I think a lot of people think that, these tackles can go 1 or 2. They're going to go 1 or 2 outside of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you got the Lions taking Aiden Hutchinson, and we got the Houston Texans taking Kayvon Thibodeau. And I could see these 2 guys going back to back. I think one could go before the other. It's going to be depending on what's your flavor. Again, we talked about it before. You had the whole situation with Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, who's that number one edge rusher? I don't even know where Cleveland Farrell came in to that party, but the Rams, I don't know. They were thinking something different. But it was really Josh Allen and Nick Bosa. And they were different. Nick Bosa was more, the technically refined one. He had the power. He had the overall game. He was terrific against the run and the pass. And then you had Josh Allen, who was more of a freak against the pass. He had tremendous pass rushing production. I believe it was 17 sacks that last year. He was at Kentucky. Well, now you got Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon, and he's not the strongest versus the run. Right. That's an area where he really can improve on. But I really like to lean on what can you teach, what you can't you teach. And you can't teach that explosiveness off of the edge. He has that bend. He's able to dip down. Again, there have been times where teams have been able to kind of have him be a little quiet throughout games. I think there's still more when it comes to him being able to utilize certain things as a pass rush. I like his one-hand stab. I like how he dips and gets skinny and does those type of things, but got to bring a little bit more power to this game. And I've even seen some power, but he has to be a little bit stronger versus the run game and not pushed out of there and not bullied out of there. So they're going to value his pass rushing ability over there in Houston, Texans. Lovie Smith, he's the head coach now. Obviously runs that defense. I think he's going to like Thibodeau a whole lot.
I agree with you. And I think it leaves more things for Lovie to play with too. I do think that Thibodeau is a little bit more versatile. You've seen him do a lot more drops at times. Not that you want to spend a pick on an edge rusher and then drop him all the time, but that possibility, if you can do some replacement blitzing with that kind of package, he's a guy that looks comfortable in some space too. So I can understand why they might lean that direction.
All right. So we've already gone through our top three guys. Again, Jacksonville Jaguars, they take Evan Neal out of Alabama. Detroit Lions, they take Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. And then you got the Houston Texans. They take Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. When we come back, we got the Jets, Giants, Panthers. They are on the clock. But first, we want to talk to y'all a little bit about Built Bar. All right, and this is the first time of the year that I've pretty much given up on my New Year's resolution. I would typically, but not this time, not this year. I'm sticking with my New Year's resolution thanks to Built Bar. All right, it's almost feels like it's really eating something better. It doesn't even feel like a resolution because I don't feel like I'm watching what I eat because it tastes so good and I enjoy eating it so much. But have you tried the puffs? All right, I tried the puffs for the first time down in Mobile, Alabama. Shout out to our guy Ross, and he had those puffs, and they are delicious. I actually ate all of the puffs. All right, before anybody else can get them. I don't know if you're supposed to eat them at the volume that I did, but hopefully they hurt me too bad. All right, if you haven't tasted these, you are missing out. The puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. Yes, marshmallow. They are fluffy. They are marshmallowy. They are not just a protein bar. They are a treat, and they are covered in 100% real chocolate. All right, puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. That was definitely my favorite. All right, they are all so good. These are going to be your new favorites, I promise you. And all Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, that includes the puffs. All right, 100% real chocolate. But the best part about it, y'all, low calorie, high in protein. So you can replace this with any candy bar that you have around your house. I mean, they're way better. And a typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. All right, go to built.com and scroll down to the macros chart. You'll be blown away, all right, by what you see. High in protein, low in calorie, high in fiber, and low in carbs. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to any candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. All right, got all these different flavors: mint brownie, coconut almond, and a new flavor this month for you: white chocolate cookies and cream. I can't wait to try that one. They are delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. And if you think of a flavor that you're like, you know what, I think that might be good. Well, guess what, y'all? They will make it for you, and it'll probably be delicious. Pretty sure it will. At Built Bar, they are all about the taste. All right, they want to make it taste delicious first. Then they'll figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how they do it, but they pull it off every single time. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCK15, and get 15% off of your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. All right, man. We got the New York Jets, New Jersey Jets, New York Jets, whatever you want to call them. They're in New Jersey, man. They're in New Jersey, Florham Park, New Jersey. All right, and they're picking at 4. And man, I feel like there's so many different directions that they can go in here, but you want to get a premium athlete at this top.
Right.
And I'm thinking right now, there are some people that want to go at the offensive line, and I can see that. Again, we talked about protecting Trevor Lawrence. Why not protect your young stud quarterback and Zach Wilson as well out of BYU? It's going into his second year. He was banged up a lot last year. You want to keep him healthy. So I want to lean on the offense, but knowing you know what? I'm going to go against what I want to do. We're going to go offensive line. All right, we're going to go.
You're right. We are. You know why? Because it's my pick. I like that you want to go down this road, but this is my pick, buddy.
Go ahead. It is your pick.
That was perfect. But you changed it around. You got to where I was going anyway. Offensive line, cool. I think you have to. You owe it to him, right? Obviously, Becton got hurt last year. I thought Fant stepped in and did pretty well. I mean, so you feel like you have a backup tackle. If Becton can't get back, you're okay there. But on the other side, Morgan Moses is a free agent, and he gave up, 49 pressures last season. That is a ton. So you have to look at that offensive line. You have to get a bookend or at least a trio of players that you feel can man your tackle positions in and out to give Wilson a chance. And so then it comes down to the decision-making for me, and I'm going to go a little bit outside the box, see what you think of it, because athleticism, I think, helps here, especially if you're any one of these top 3 tackles that might switch over to the other side. So in this particular case, I'm going to lean and go probably lower than most people think. I'm not going to go Ikukwanu. I want to go Charles Cross for the New York Jets. Give him somebody that's got that a little bit more athleticism that I think can make that transition a little bit better, and give them somebody that can help be that pillar for Wilson going forward. You good with that?
I am good with that. And there are some people that think Ikukwanu is a guard potentially. Mm-hmm. There are some people that think he profiles better as a guard. So, going with a Charles Cross, he is a pure tackle. I like his athleticism. I think that's a guy that definitely worked here. So you took the offensive lineman, which I was going to give them as well, but just a different one. But you got the New York Giants on the clock. And you know what? Since you passed on Ikukwanu, we're going to go Ikukwanu here out of tackle out of North Carolina State. I just talked about him potentially being a guard, but I think that's what they did with Tristan Wirfs, right? Tristan Wirfs was coming out and he was kind of built, kind of profiled a little bit more as a guard as opposed to a tackle. Tampa Bay Buccaneers said, nah, man, you're going to be a right tackle and you're going to be a damn good one. And that he has been, did a terrific job of protecting Tom Brady for those years. Matter of fact, I mean, shoot, they missed him big time when he wasn't able to play in those games. So you look at Ikukwanu, there's some people that might profile him as a guard, but I'm going to stick him here with the New York Giants at tackle. And I think they need that. When you look at them, we're talking about these young quarterbacks and giving them a chance. And New York Giants brass, they've come out and said, man, we haven't done enough to protect our young quarterback, Daniel Jones. We have not we failed him. We failed around him. And he's kind of like a running joke because it's like, oh, Daniel Jones, no chance. But I think they're trying to do right by him. And I think if you ultimately want to do that, you're going to go out and you're going to get a tackle for him and protect him. So, Ikukwanu, welcome to New York Giants.
I think that fits. I like where you're going that way. And this next one, I think we're going to buck the trend and stay with the same position of all things. Because I think the need in Carolina is at offensive tackle as well too. Again, this is purely dependent on not trading around and not going after a quarterback. Because again, I don't think any of us think there's a top 10 quarterback in this class right now. So I got to take that off the edge. And when you look at interior offensive or defensive linemen, I don't see the value here at 6. So I think a tackle is somebody you can build around. And I think there's a guy that I am not as high on, but I do think that Panthers will be. It's a little bit of square peg round hole until he gets there. And I think he'll adapt. I think he's a lot more upside. I don't think he's as far along as his former teammate, but I think it may be a good fit, and maybe you can get a little bit more power. Help Christian McCaffrey survive maybe longer in a season. That sounds like probably a good idea to me. Maybe I'm out here on a limb. I don't know. But let's do something different this week. Let's go Trevor Penning to the Carolina Panthers, the tackle from Northern Iowa.
And he is someone that's definitely flying up boards. And, he is a guy that, we didn't really talk a whole lot about. Suddenly this this tackle class might be one of the better ones in recent years, right? Like, I mean, we're talking
looks
about
that
right now.
way.
We have what four guys going in the top 6 picks.
6,
The only,
right?
the only non-tackles are
Are the edges.
Aiden Hutchinson and so everybody's in the trenches here. And that maybe that says what
Yes.
type of class this is at the quarterback position. I do think there are terrific skill position players. I'm pretty sure we'll get to those later, but we're gonna get to the last 4 picks after this break. All right, we got the Giants coming up, the Falcons, Denver Broncos, and the New York Jets. They are on the clock. But first, we want to talk to you a little bit about BetOnline. All right, football might be over this season, but basketball, it's in full steam right now for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where you might find the next fired head coach, where is he going to land? BetOnline.net is the #1 spot for all of your sports betting needs. Our BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just a basketball site, y'all. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, UFC, your odds on that, right down to your Olympic coverage and information. Head to the website today or use the mobile device to learn more about the trends and action going on right now in betting. All right, BetOnline. It's where the game starts. All right, now let me make sure it's my pick now, right? I don't want to skip over you. All right, now I think right now the New York Giants, they went offensive line with their first pick. And I think right now they're going to be pretty excited to see this guy on the board. Talked about kind of building up that offensive lineman. And I don't think they have any more offensive line to really help them right now. They can use all the help they can get at that position. But we're going to go cornerback. All right, we're going to go quarterback, corner, and we're going to go Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. All right, the New York Giants, they need help at the cornerback position. Now you have Bradbury. He's done a terrific job, right? But who's going to play opposite him? Yes, they can utilize some help at the safety position, but I think that cornerback and kind of finding that premium athletic guy who's really going to fit the mold of what the Giants are trying to do right now, turn over that program. I like the fact that Derek Stingley is going to go there. Now, one thing that we might find out throughout the process with Derek Stingley Jr. was his rookie freshman year, was that his best film? Was that the height of it? And a lot of the hype from him kind of came off of that season. And has he kind of taken a step or two back since then? I think people might block that out and just say, you know what, this is a terrific prospect, regardless of what's kind of happened. He dealt with some different injuries and things like that. Remember in his sophomore year, kind of got did up again. Well, did his freshman year, did his second year by Devontae Smith, terrific receiver. Of course, he did up a lot of guys. But a lot of people are saying, well, he's kind of banged up. He's kind of hurt. So can he get over that injury bug? They had so many big plans for Stingley. They wanted to utilize him as a receiver as well as a cornerback. He wasn't able to get to all that. And really everything around him at LSU fell apart as well. So as of now, he's still a terrific prospect. Andrew Booth, he might be in that conversation, him at a Clemson as that CB1. But right now, we're going to go with Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. Welcome to the New York Giants.
Man, I hope that wasn't his peak. I hope that he is able to get back on track. The lack of film the last 2 years is certainly concerning, and I think there are people that will take him down the board for that. I think it's interesting that he is still rated as highly as he is. We'll see if that holds weight. But now we get to the Atlanta Falcons, a team that seems to want to stay with their quarterback. I could see them going here. I don't think we'll do that here. They could use some help at tackle on the offensive side. I don't think there's anybody left now at this point with the way that we went in the top 6. So that brings us to the edges or the corners or maybe a pass catcher to really help out that quarterback in that offense. You saw him try to do some interesting things with Cordero Patterson. You saw Kyle Pitts have his rookie season and start to come on. Like I say, give him another weapon. And I like that combination. Some of the things they did with Patterson actually reminded me of your guy. And he's been flying up the grades lately, too. I think you have him as wide receiver 1. So why don't we go Treylon Burks over to the Atlanta Falcons and see what he can do in that offense?
Oh, Burks is a guy that I love. Burks actually was at a high school basketball game right now. It was a high school that he went to over there in Warren. Treylon Burks, man, special talent at the receiver position. Again, I think they're going to have to get past the fact that he doesn't look like your traditional receiver in the sense of what it's supposed to look like running routes. And there are going to be people that get the whole separation thing in their head. Oh, he's not a separator. It doesn't matter. He wins. And he wins en route. He wins because you can move him in different spots. He can play on the outside. He can run go routes. He can run by any defender. And he's terrific at the catch point, playing on the outside. You saw what he did to Alabama. He's done that and tormented a lot of secondaries throughout the SEC. And he's doing that with KJ Jefferson as his quarterback, right? He didn't have the luxury of playing with a Bryce Young or, any of these guys that are throwing the ball around at a high clip and are extremely accurate. He had to go get it any which way possible. He did that. They lined him up in the slot. He worked well from there. They would do a lot of motions with him, motion him into the backfield, throwing screens to him. We talk about kind of Deebo Samuel, and there's a lot of people trying to find Deebo Samuel 2.0. I'm not saying that he's Deebo Samuel 2.0, but what I am saying is 6'3", 230 pounds, very versatile, very explosive. I think this is a terrific pick for the Atlanta Falcons at pick 8. So on the clock now, man, we got the Denver Broncos. And unless they get Aaron Rodgers somehow, some way, and, they got, was it Nathaniel Hackett? That's the new head coach there. He was over there with the Green Bay Packers, I believe. If he's not able to get Aaron Rodgers over there, I think they go quarterback here. They tried it with Teddy Bridgewater. They tried it with Drew Lock. And it's been really rocky. And I think the quarterback position, that's the one thing really kind of holding them back. So right now they're going to go with a quarterback who they feel can throw in those elements and play in that cold weather, although it looked kind of weird over there in Alabama. All right, but Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh, a guy that has some mobility. I think he fits from that standpoint. He's accurate, not maybe a guy that's going to push the ball downfield a ton, but he's going to be very efficient underneath. You saw what he did with his receiver, Addison, that won the Biletnikoff Award. All right, so he did a terrific job with that receiver. I think he can do a lot with these pass catchers that the Broncos have because they have a lot of them. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Who else do we got there? They got KJ Hamler, right? Got a tight end over there. You got a plethora of running backs. So the team is ready. Now just give them a quarterback that can get the most out of these guys. And I think maybe it's Kenny Pickett. So he's the first quarterback that goes off the board. Pick 9, Kenny Pickett, going to Denver out of Pittsburgh.
Welcome to the Mile High, Kenny Pickett. Think that's going to be an interesting combination. I agree with you. I'm not too worried about the hand size. I'm about over that whole discussion. We'll see what happens when he magically stretches his hand for the combine and it's 9 1/4 and we can all shut up about it. But I think the fit there in terms of delivering the ball to those weapons, you make a ton of sense, and I like where you went there. So that brings us back. The last pick of this mock draft is going to be the New York Jets. They're back on the clock after having selected Charles Cross. They're up at number 4. So how can you make an impact on this team, on this game? Again, rookie quarterback, you're trying to support him on the offensive side. You could go a weapon. You could actually help him try to keep the opponent's scores down a little bit. And this is where I think it gets really interesting about how do you project what helps the team the most. Inside that locker room, they have a better idea of what they're looking for. But from the outside, what I'm looking for from them is that someone that can make plays all over the field. Not just in their pocket at their position. I need somebody with range. I need somebody that can play multiple roles. I need somebody that can maybe replace an all-pro player that they happen to trade away. To me, there's really no other option here than to get somebody to really be the captain on the other side and take that over. Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame is a safety that can do a little bit of everything. I like the ground that he covers. He can run in. He can play corner if he needs to. He can play in the blocks. He can play high. He can play split too. He's big enough to bring the thump, although I don't think that's his forte. It's not an Adams replacement, but it's somebody that I think that can make most bang for the buck here in the top 10, knowing that you have other selections in this draft. So we'll give Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame the safety to the New York Jets.
And I've loved his ability. I love his skill set. You talk about a guy that is that tall, but has that much range. And I've talked about it, man. Not just range in the sense of defending the back end of the secondary. And that's what a lot of people are going to go to, man. He can run sideline to sideline, and he definitely can do that. But it's even more impressive for a guy to start off at a too high and shoot down and make a tackle behind the line of scrimmage on 4th and 2. I can't get that play out of my head. Now, again, we talk about the range in as a pass defender and him being a too high safety to the far hash. In college, those hashes are wide as hell.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he's to the far hash. And how does he go all the way across the field, reading the quarterback and picking off a pass while diving and barely toe tapping his feet inbounds? That was one of the most impressive plays I've seen in a long time from a defender. So Kyle Hamilton, big time player, big time ability, has the size 6'4", 220 pounds. Is he a little long-legged? That's one thing I have to continue to see. How's it change of direction? Does he have to play a very specific way? Does he have to play a very specific style of defense? Those things are going to hopefully be answered the more I dive into his film. But right now, I like that pick for the New York Jets, man. Kyle Hamilton. Definitely. Can he be the leader that Jamal Adams was? Because that's the one thing that Jamal Adams did a terrific job for the New York Jets.
If you're going to put your money on somebody, it's going to be a guy that's led a team that has been in playoff games without the star quarterback, right? A guy that's been at the back of the defense, kind of bringing it along, guy that can do a little bit of everything. I'm not concerned about his role. I think the more film we watch, the more we're going to like him. So I think the leadership aspect is probably baked in there. And I think there is something to be said about a guy that left the way that he did from the program that he did. And I think that's going to be a great fit in New York.
Awesome, man. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. As always, man, I'm your boy, Eric Crocker, at Eric_Crocker on Twitter. I'm always joined by my guy, Ryan Tracy. Y'all can find him at Ryan Tracy NFL on Twitter. We'll be right here live on YouTube. If y'all find us on YouTube, type in Locked On NFL Draft, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, reviews on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. It helps. It helps. So we appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.